Have you ever wondered what makes organisms in the biosphere different from one another? Species and individual organisms are all different in some way because of the animal's niche.
A niche is the role an organism takes in the biosphere.
Is it niche?
Niche.
Nietzsche?
It's niche.
Nietzsche?
It's a niche.
Okay.
It includes the physical, psychological, and behavioral traits of the animal. It also includes the conditions an organism needs to thrive, as well as its symbiotic relationships.
This includes commensalism, mutualism, and parasitism and predation.
Yummy!
It may seem that you need to memorize so many different things to understand what an organism's niche actually is, but that really isn't necessary. An organism's niche is basically just all the things it needs to maintain homeostasis, and most of it is determined by natural selection.
What's natural selection?
I'm so glad you asked. Natural selection is when an organism's adaptations are the most suitable for its environment. For example, if an animal with a lot of fur moves into a hot area, it won't survive because its adaptation, the fur, does not fit its environment. Instead, the animals with no fur at all will survive because those adaptations help them to live in the hot weather. Another way of putting this is the term survival of the fittest. These adaptations that help the animals to survive in a specific environment becomes a part of that same animal's niche. Let's break down the niche of an organism to get a better understanding. Today, I'm up close with the organisms of the vast biome of the Hillsborough Hills. Wow! Today is your lucky day! I just spotted a deadly 7-year-old. That's not quite the animal I had in mind.
Let's go into the niche of a green sea turtle. Green sea turtles live in tropical and subtropical waters. They migrate long distances to eat seagrasses. Green sea turtles also have soft, wide shells to protect them. They have paddle-like flippers that make them great swimmers. And the females make burrows in the sand to lay their eggs. All of these facts and more are key to the survival of green sea turtle, or part of its niche. Why do we even care?
Well, niches are pretty important. They help us understand species diversity more as they highlight the differences between organisms. They also allow scientists to help prevent extinction by providing animals with the resources they need. A lot of people help replant trees and forests because of the deforestation process. They're returning habitats to many birds, monkeys, and other organisms that live in trees. Scientists can also help specific species if there is a shortage of its prey, plants in its diet, or other resources included in its niche. Another extremely important part of niches is the competitive exclusion principle. It states that two organisms cannot have exactly the same niche at exactly the same time. This is because if they do, the organisms will fight over resources necessary for both their survival. If two whole species fight over resources, the stronger species with the better adaptations will kill off the weaker species, ultimately leading to their extinction. Here's an example. If species A and species B both eat apples and live in oak trees, they will constantly fight each other to get the food and shelter they need. Species A is stronger and more adapted, so it will eventually kill off all of species B. But If species A eats apples and bananas and lives in cypress trees, and species B eats apples and grapes and lives in maple trees, there would be less competition. Both species would survive because even though their niches are similar, because they both eat apples and live in trees, they are not exactly the same. So both species can live happily. Overall, we learned that niches consist of everything an organism needs to survive and reproduce. And two organisms can't have exactly the same niche, but they can be similar. And remember,